How's it going, everybody? Here on leechess.org today, got a 30-minute rapid game. Here, this is my first time playing in the this 30-minute pool, so it shows they call this classical time control over here, so it shows my rating is 1500 provisional. Yeah, I expect once I get enough games that my rating should be somewhere between 2000 and 2100 provisional. So this is kind of a climbing the rating ladder video just to give a feel for, if you're at this level, just sort of some things to be thinking about. First thing, I don't know if this was a mouse slip. I mean, most moves in the opening are possible moves, but yeah, this doesn't strike me as the kind of move you want to be making that often. Usually I like to go to c5 against d4 openings. I don't know about this one. I mean, they're going to get some kind of weird Kali setup, I guess. I mean, d5 is an idea. d5, I don't see anything wrong with it. Let's go for it. A lot of pawn moves. I don't know why so many pawn moves. I mean, the obvious one here, they want to, I guess, play their knight out and not have this pin, but those are not things that you should be scared of, such that you're wasting tempi trying to stop them. Do I want to fianchetto my bishop, or do I want to play this way? I probably want to play this way. Yeah. I like locking down my light square bishop, but I don't want to put my light square bishop here either and invite both this and this. This one, of course, hitting b2. So yeah, let's go like this. Okay, way too many pawn moves. Way too many pawn moves. Bishop e2, bishop e2, bishop e7 or bishop d6. Seem plausible. Knight c6 also. I think just in the vein of trying to get castle, probably bishop e7. But they could take, sorry, I played bishop e7, they take here. The claim is I lose a tempo, but maybe. So I could play knight c6 too. Let's go for knight c6. I mean, that whole losing a tempo thing, I've never been really struck that that argument is terribly compelling. I mean, I might have to, like, so if I play bishop e7 and they take, I take here, yes, I've had to move the bishop twice, but they've also lost this strong central pawn, so the position has changed. And when we're talking about tenths of a pawn in terms of positional advantage this early in the opening, I don't think these are things worth being concerned about. So yeah, let's go bishop e7, bishop e6. Let's go bishop e7. I'm always kind of hesitant to put my bishop on d6 when I've got a knight here, because oftentimes they have threats that sort of come out of forks like this. I don't understand this move. I could play bishop d7 and see what they're going to do. Are they just going to try to launch an attack? I mean, I could play bishop d7, queen c7, castle long. I'm not particularly scared of an attack over here. They have like no development. Yeah, let's go bishop d7. Okay, wow. So queen c7, queen b6, possible moves. Do you have anything to be concerned about if queen b6? Maybe. Queen b6. Queen b6, queen c7. I think I don't know a lot of difference. I don't see anything particularly wrong with queen b6. I don't see anything that white can do. Yeah, let's go for queen b6. Just apply some pressure here. I'm thinking about playing c4 in this kind of position and just locking down the queen side. Okay, so they want to come here, I would assume. And do what? I don't know. Okay, I could castle queenside. I could play c4. I could play h6. h6 kind of gives them a hook, though. Something to latch onto, so they could go like g4, g5. It's probably not h6. I could play c takes. Let's try to open things up. I could play e4. e4 takes, knight takes. That's okay. Yeah, I don't know if I want to close this down, especially with their development issues. I probably want to try to open things up, I would think. So moves like c takes and e4, or e4, e5 suggest themselves. C takes. C takes. Yeah, I really think I want to break in the center and just try to break things open. But what is the best way to do it? C takes or e5? I mean, C takes, we open the C file. Maybe, or open, yeah, let's go with this. It's kind of unclear which is better. I kind of just know that I probably want to open up the position. I could jump my knight in. If they do this, I minimum have knight g3, forking these two. If here and the knight comes out, I could play f4 or f5. Would be a decent way to continue. Yeah, let's go this way. Yeah, I probably want to castle queenside. Okay, so they do this. F5. F5 is maybe my best idea. See anything else? I mean, I don't want to capture them, and I don't know if I want to take back this way. Although it's probably fine. I could castle long. And castling long just feels really, excuse me, feels really weird. Now let's go f5. This seems to be the most straightforward thing to do. I guess if they ever go like this, I'm going to go like this, just to make sure they don't have checks. And in this case, I'm pretty sure I want to, yeah, keep central control, capture towards the center. Okay. So now they're saying that they're going to play the bishop here and just have a double attack on this, maybe. Okay. I could also just do this, but then this hangs. Okay. So maybe I need to just get rid of this knight. I don't like trading off a bishop, but it ruined their pawn structure a bit. They get an isolated pawn. This business stops. This might be best. Bishop. Yeah, let's go bishop this way. Bishop d6. Okay. It's like a castle both ways. I feel like my king would be safer on the queen side. I could also bring my knight over here and protect this, and then just try to push this. That's a pretty decent looking idea. Do you see any problems with that? I don't think so. Let's do that. If they play the bishop out here, I think I have to... Okay, what? Okay, so I think I'm just pushing this way. If they bring their bishop here now, I could even think about just blocking it. It's not a bad idea either. So many pawn moves. Okay. What to do, what to do. It's not obvious where my king wants to go in this position. Bishop a4, h, a5. And maybe trading off this bishop might be a good idea. That is definitely their better bishop. But you gotta remember that it's guarding this pawn. I guess if I take this knight, then again, it kind of ruins their pawn structure a bit. Yeah, let's do that. I don't know if it's the best move, but just trying to make practical decisions. This is a nice outpost square for my knight. Just eyeing this up. I mean, I would assume they're going to take this way. Maybe after that, I could think about playing like this. I could think about going here. Okay, it says my opponent left the game for some reason, so yeah, okay. Now they're back. Yeah, first thought is to try to trade this bishop. Yeah, their bishop is definitely better than mine. Let's try to do that. If they try to attack here, again, I can bring the knight in. Okay, it says they left the game again. They must be having connection issues. Hopefully that doesn't persist for them. Okay. Inclination here is probably that I want to bring my rook over. Maybe my king just goes here. This is a really weird position. A really, really, really weird position. Yeah, let's do this. So I'm thinking if I trade this and then bring the rook in, is there anything there? Not obviously so. Could be just really annoying, which is probably a good idea. Yeah, let's do this. I'm not sure where my knight wants to go. Wants to go here now with this sitting here. If this happens, maybe queen c7. Just with the idea of giving my knight this option. Stay on this diagonal in case there's some action on the diagonal. Seems like a slightly better position for the queen. But I do run into possible ideas like this. Queen c7, so a5, queen c7, rook c8, bishop takes, rook takes, I'm off a bishop, takes my rook, takes, and now what? Okay. Huh. This is a game of like pawn pushes. Okay, I think maybe just bring my king to f2 or f7. Sorry. Let's do that. Just connect my rooks. What a bizarre game. That's the thing. These lower rating levels, you definitely get non-theoretical, non-standard positions. So rook takes, and now maybe I can actually say I'm going to put together something positionally interesting. So they can get some activity here. I mean, not immediately, I just take it. So maybe they go here. Maybe. Yeah, this might be a good move for them. It supports like this. Okay. So what do you think you're gonna do? What do you think you're going to do? I mean, this piece is solidly defended. That point is solidly defended. I don't know how you're gonna get at that. Maybe they're trying to come here along with this. In which case, maybe I go here. Let's do the standard thing. Double on the file. Okay. So finally, we know where their king is at. The triple on the file. Could just go attack this. They come here. What about this if en passant takes? I've got this target. Could even go here. Just hit this one. I could do the same thing by going here. Maybe that's a decent idea. Let's do that. Just threatening the pawn. I expect something like that. In which case we can do this. And maybe seek to trade. Now let's get the queen on this diagonal. It's going to shut down ideas of the bishop coming in. Let's do that. Okay, this is not a good move. I'll just get a tempo. That's fine. This one next. Yeah, and I don't know how they're defending that pawn. Okay, so a lot of maneuvering, but I think we finally won material. I I don't think I care about the capture this, because if they ever bring a rook down, I can always just do this. Yeah, let's go like this. Okay, so you just leave your queen on pre. So if I take and takes, I can always just sacrifice my rook for this pawn. They took all of like no time to make that move, which is a blunder. Takes. So takes. They have these pass pawns. I don't know. It looks like it's a blunder, and it's probably fine, but maybe I just don't need to give them any counterplay. Because this pawn is also going to be passed. Yeah, let's do this anyway. Do you want to do that, or do you want to block? They go here. You could also just threaten mate. How are they stopping mate? I don't think they are. Don't always be on the defensive, right? Like, I don't know how they're stopping mate. I have a queen and a knight, like, right by their king. Like, what am I doing? How are you stopping mate? I don't see it. And there we go. Okay, so let's pull the analysis board up. I'm going to put this on pause just to get the screen changed around. Okay, so yeah, not a lot to say about this one in terms of the analysis. So if we go down to the report, I had 5 inaccuracies and 1 mistake for a 33 average centi pawn loss. The relative inaccuracy there was probably mostly because it was a really non-standard position. But what I would say about this game is like, so again, like I said at the beginning, I think my classical rating, I guess, is what they call the rating in this pool of games. Will probably end up being somewhere between 2,000 and 2,100, I would guess, because my rapid rating, I assume, is going to be somewhere around there eventually, and I would expect those two are going to be pretty close. So I'm playing somebody who's, significantly less in terms of playing strength than me, and the point is, with the graph is, even if you're playing somebody that's much lower rated, it's not like you can beat them in one move, right? You have to grind away. So for the longest time, White had chances, and eventually as the game grew, sort of went on, I had a slightly better and better position, but there's not a lot to say in terms of like the opening and stuff here, because it's a really just non-standard position. So this move c3 is the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th most common move, so I guess it does get played, but it's pretty rare, And I wonder if there are any master games where they play c3. They do. What is this called? I have no idea. This is really weird. But yeah, so at the master level, it's 353 times more likely that they play c4 as opposed to c3. Less so at this level, but still, because less so at this level because you get all kinds of non-standard stuff. But okay, yeah. So interesting opening. I had no idea what it was, but yeah, as I said throughout, my opponent I thought was making way too many pawn moves. Like this kind of stuff, hardly ever needed. If you find that you're doing this in games, try to figure out ways to not make these preemptive h-pawn pushes where you're trying to take away these squares. Just deal with the pins, develop your pieces, you'll be fine. There's a reason all these pins occur in theoretical openings. They're totally fine to play against. There are ways out of them. You just have to figure out how to do that. So let's just try to jump to some positions where maybe I played some slight inaccuracies. So this move evidently was an inaccuracy, and it says to play h6. Okay, that's interesting. It says to play h6, and I guess just stopping further play here. I mentioned that I didn't want to give them a hook, but probably the counterpoint would be if they're playing g4, g5 in this position when they have no development, like they're just asking for it. So probably that is the explanation. Okay. So this was a mistake. And again, it still wants me to play h6, and I shouldn't have taken. This is a good example of oftentimes you don't want to be the person taking and breaking the tension. But yeah, I was trying to open the position. I was being dogmatic about this idea of opening the position. C takes d4. It's fine. It's actually the third move. But okay, so maybe there are other ideas too. Okay, so we get some further play here. So this move is not so good, and I think I can sort of get that. Again, it mentions h6, rook c8, bishop d6, just getting development. So these moves, yeah, that just makes a lot more sense. Just further your development. Although bishop d6 maybe doesn't make as much sense to me. I mean, obviously, yeah, it activates your bishop, but I've already moved the bishop. I think I would prefer something like rook c8. Knight a5, it also mentions probably trying to come in here, or maybe in here. Move makes sense. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, not a whole lot more to say, I think, about that position. Okay, so this was a mistake. It looks intimidating because they're bringing all your pawns. They're bringing all their pawns at me. Okay, so it says don't give up your bishop. Just castle kingside. Wow. Or rook c8. Sorry, rook c8. So castle kingside. I guess the point is like, hey, this pawn might look intimidating, but what else are they gonna do? Okay, I guess I get that. Okay, let's go here. See, okay, so it doesn't like this, it just wants to take, so maybe I was just getting too cute. But bishop c4 is the second best move. Bishop takes e2, queen takes e2. I just didn't want to develop the queen. It says this is totally fine. Rook c4. I would imagine this would be more interesting, but you got queen b5. Yeah, you just keep getting activity, so maybe this kind of plan like I was talking about, or maybe just castling and bringing your rook over. Either way. Okay. So bishop takes c4 was a mistake. Okay. Yeah, and then they had this blunder. So it took them like a second or something to make this move, and yeah, it's just a big time blunder. I mentioned for a while, like, or suggested for a while, I was thinking about not taking the queen over here, because my concern was if I took the queen, I was concerned that I was going to have to do something like this, and then they were going to have these two pawns, and ultimately they would get a queen anyway. But I was not paying attention to the fact that, hey, you've got a knight and a queen by this exposed king, so they're getting mated. So don't always think about defense, think about offense as well, and that's ultimately what I ended up doing. So yeah, interesting game. I think a lot of instructive points for people at this level. Opponent didn't really play terribly badly until they blundered their queen right at the end, and that was after how many moves was that? There was so they played 27 okay moves. I mean, I still had a better position after move 27, but they were okay. They weren't totally blown off the board. And then they blundered their queen. So before the obvious of don't blunder your queen, the other sort of big takeaway for anybody at this level I would suggest is not making all these weird pawn moves. I mean, look at all these pawn moves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And no piece development yet. 6. Sorry, 6. They've got 5 pawn moves in, and no pieces developed along the back row. Like, that is not good opening play. And as the game went on, we had more and more pawn moves. They had all these pawn moves, and they weren't getting piece development. So, yeah, if you're at this rating level and you find yourself doing that sort of thing, don't do that. Develop your pieces. Alright, so I think that's about all that I want to say about this one, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot. Bye.